Hi, it's Phil and John from Golf Data Tech, and we're here today to have a little discussion about the apparel market in the US. Now, obviously, Golf Data Tech tracks apparel sales through on and off course specialty stores. We have some fantastic data on units and value across all the key apparel categories. And obviously it's been a really interesting time over the last year or two with such a boom in golf to see where that money's been spent. And the apparel market isn't necessarily one that has received as much benefit from the boom in golf compared to some of the other categories. So John, can you give us a little bit of an outline of where we are and in relative terms and where we're seeing the total market in terms of value at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, what we saw during 2020, during the pandemic, people couldn't go into golf shops to buy apparel, so to touch it, feel it, try it on. So apparel sales really suffered much more dramatically than the equipment side did. In 2021, we saw that bounce back to a significant degree, and that's continued into 2022. We crossed over the $1.4 billion mark in golf apparel sales towards the end of 2021, and we continue to grow from there. So it's positive news overall on apparel. Certainly if you're looking and you're trying to compare versus 2019, we're significantly above where we were before the pandemic. It's a little slower to come back than equipment, but it seems to be, as equipment now is starting to peak out, apparel still seems to have some runway ahead.
Okay, wow. So, I mean, that's a pretty big stat. So we're saying $1.4 billion worth of apparel sales as of 12 months at the end of 2021. That's
a lot of golf shirts.
That's a lot of golf shirts. So obviously we're tracking shirts and tops and bottoms. Anything, in terms of the categories, men's shirts the biggest. Have we seen in shirts a similar behaviour to the other categories in terms of rising ASPs, or have things been fairly stable with that?
No, we've seen a significant increase in ASPs. The apparel category is different from equipment in that roughly 75% of all golf apparel is sold through a golf shop, a pro shop, versus equipment is kind of the flip side of that. So the average selling price of a golf shirt now is almost $75 in the US, and it just a few years ago was down around $60. So we've seen a rather significant increase. Women's shirts are a little less expensive, but the percentage increase has actually been greater on the women's side. So average selling prices on shirts are up very dramatically. Just like everything in golf, it costs more.
Yeah. But where do you see things going in the next 3 to 6 months in terms of apparel, and how's that going to compare maybe to the hardware?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing in soft goods is that just like in hard goods is where you're going to get the product. Okay. And if you can get it and you can get it in inventory, it seems to be selling very well. We're not seeing any buildup of inventory. Product seems to be turning very rapidly at the point of sale. And the big thing is, can the manufacturers, can the brands get the apparel that they need in a timely basis delivered to the golf shops? It's critical in apparel to hit the season, more so than anything, because it is so heavily driven by the green grass that if you are 30 or 60 days late, you've kind of missed your window and things can really stack up. So it's going to be critical that the brands get the product out there on a timely basis. And if they do, there's no indication there or anything to suggest that there's going to be a dramatic slowdown in apparel. It should continue to be a nice steady growth for the rest of the year. Okay,
so that's slightly different to some of the other categories you've seen. So we're expecting a little bit more positivity actually in the apparel sector.
Yeah, it almost seems like apparel is lagging behind a little bit, where equipment came out of the pandemic very rapidly in the middle of 2020. It took apparel about an extra 6 or 7 months to kind of bottom out and start to come back up. So it does seem to be lagging a little bit, and that's a good thing for apparel, because there's a lot of new product in the marketplace and people are looking to buy it. They're going to the golf course, and if they can go buy something new, it could be a new putter, or it could be a couple of new shirts. Whatever it is, they're there.
I suppose another significant change will also impact more on apparel than other hard good categories is the fact that now that travel has eased and people feel a bit more comfortable getting out, those tourist golfers who are going to resorts that are visiting places where they might be buying, memento shirts and things with branding. Those kind of destinations are probably going to see a more healthy pickup,
Yes.
aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, most resorts, the big resorts, they did okay during the pandemic in terms of actually filling slots. However, they were filling it with people who were local as in they might have been able to drive from 3, 4, 5 hours away to come play there. But that type of player doesn't necessarily buy a lot of shirts or logo wear, hats, and everything else. So it's very beneficial to have the international traveler, the international golfer coming from Europe or Asia to come to Pebble Beach or Bandon Dunes or up to Kohler or wherever. It's really helpful. So that will help stimulate the resort side, and resort sales are significant. It's a big part of the overall apparel business.
Yeah, and sure. I know we see that a lot of the majority of the apparel is actually sold through the on-course channel. So active golfers at those sites are what really drives the business. So we've seen a positive benefit for the apparel industry over the latter part of the pandemic, hitting those big growth numbers, and certainly looks like we've got some continued momentum with that in later on this year. And then obviously we'll see where we go when we come to the end of the season to see how the inventory levels are and what's left to clear, if anything, and how we then move into the kind of winter section, and that obviously shift in apparel purchase changes. Okay, well, hopefully there's some insights there from John and a little bit of information there for anyone interested in the apparel market. We thanks time, and we'll be bringing more data as we have it throughout the year.